Hello lovelies, how are you all doing? I hope you are well. I am. Got a cardigan on today. Yeah, temperature's coming down a bit, change of season. We actually had a couple of nights ago a nearly frost. Oh my goodness, we were just above freezing, which seems a little bit too early seeing as we're still in September. And well, for quite a few years now, September has been a gorgeous month. Warm, still warm, sunny, that's the main thing. Give me sunshine. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it feels like the season is turning a bit too early this year. And yeah, thoughts on that. But just first, I was thinking about when we had that nearly frost night a couple of nights ago, a little alarm went off in my brain about the garden. It's sort of like I've still got the garden brain going on of thinking about in previous years, what would I have need to think about either protecting or getting harvested, sorting out. And of course my mind turned to the squash harvest. Oh, I loved the squash harvest every year. And I know that, sorry, excuse me, itchy eyeball. I know that loads of you, every year on Facebook, I put that picture. It's become a tradition. Me outside the shed with all my squash spread out with a big cheesy grin. And that picture every year gets more thumbs up than any other picture. I'm going to miss it this year. I think some of you will too. But that's fine. I miss it. But it's not a sad missing. I'm happy to remember, oh, those lovely harvests. I loved the squash harvest. And I was trying to think about this the other night because as I was thinking about that frost and thinking, oh, I need to go to the garden. Oh, no, I don't. Haha. What I would be doing normally at this time of year. And of course, I thought about the squash harvest and I immediately started grinning from ear to ear, just thinking about it, remembering it. And I think it's probably because it's one of the only harvests, onions. Yeah, it's one of the only harvests where I do the entire harvest in one go. So the vast majority, apart from onions are also done in one go. But for the most part, harvesting is, I'll do quite a big harvest of all sorts of different things every week from July, hopefully, right through to pretty much the end of September. I'm gathering every week, processing, preserving, whatever I'm doing with my harvests, drying, what have you. So yeah, the squash harvest is always a treat because it's all in one go, it's one big mass, and it's that wonderful moment of even when they're in the wheelbarrow and I'm carting them up to the shed to basically store in the shed until I can get them all home. But that moment of seeing them all together, it's that glorious sort of validation of all the effort and all the work. And of course, it makes one's mind go back to usually about April time for me, of putting a little seed in a pot of compost, looking at it every day. Is it up yet? Is it up yet? Is it up yet? And then those first little seed leaves come up. Oh, it's germinated, fantastic. And of course they sit in my front window for weeks. Not weeks, is it weeks? I've forgotten my time scales of things now, but they sit in the window for a goodly time. Couple of true leaves, and then after a while we get into about May and I transfer them into the hallway where it's a bit cooler to start hardening them off, and then throughout May they then get taken to the garden, put in the cold frame to do some more hardening off. Eventually, first week of June or thereabouts, they get planted out. And then they don't do anything. They don't seem to grow. It seems to take them forever. It feels like forever and ever and ever. And then suddenly, overnight, one night, they go vroom, and they go bonkers. They're such a fun plant to grow, aren't they? And of course, then sort of throughout August and early September, there's that whole joy of kind of peeking under leaves to see what, if anything, is being produced. I did love, used to love going on my squash hunt. but I tried not to spy all of them. I always like to leave a few as a surprise, so I never ever counted them up before the actual harvest. It was a little annual game I played with myself on camera of guess how many squash. But yeah, there'll be times when I'd be cutting the grass in the grass paths or doing my edging, and a vine would be marching across, so I gently lift it and put it back into the bed, and I go, oh, there's another squash that I hadn't seen. Oh yeah, such great plants to grow, whether you're a kid or an adult. But I was just thinking then, what a great plant to grow with kids, because of that fun of going and searching for the fruits. But yeah, that moment every year outside the shed, grinning from ear to ear. And if you remember, I can't remember if it was the last 1 year or the last 2 years, I had to get that new table, and it was much smaller. So all the squash, they didn't quite all fit on, tumbling off, some on the floor, but it didn't matter. All that mattered was having that lovely moment to celebrate the product of all the work. Oh, yeah, lovely. It makes me think though about how would it have looked if I hadn't harvested the tomatoes through the season, but just done one big harvest at the end of the season. I think that probably would have been a wheelbarrow full of tomatoes too. I mean, it was near enough on quite a few weeks. So yeah, lovely memories of this time of year. And like I said, I can look back very happily, and I've got lots of photos to remind me, with zero sadness. But yeah, it is, it has felt a bit odd the last few days that I'm feeling it now because I'm talking about it, that there has been this quite sharp drop in temperature. We did have a couple of days ago, there's been so much rain, so much rain, but a couple of days ago we had a fine day that was really quite sunny. The temperature wasn't all that, it was about 14, 15 degrees, but I didn't care. I wore a frock. I wore a frock that day. I had some errands to run, business to do, people to go and see, and I thought, yeah, I'm putting my frock on. Stepped out the front door and I thought, oh, it's a bit chilly for a frock, but yay, I need to get as much frockage out of this year as I can before we properly get into winter. And that's kind of the subject for today in a way, is this whole thing about getting ready for winter. Now, I'm not going to talk about this too long, but anyone who's been watching my channel for a while knows that I really don't like winter. In fact, for many years, I would simply say, I hate winter. Oh, I hate winter, hate winter. I love summer. I'm a summer girl. I love I have mentioned, because I've mentioned before about really not liking winter, and a lot of focus suggested I get a SAD lamp, seasonal affective disorder lamp, so it replicates natural daylight. But for me, it's so much more than just the light. And just thinking about that the other day when the sun did come out of putting a dress on, it's about the warmth, yes, the light, but also the warmth. And for me, there's something, it makes me more carefree, I think. The idea that I can get up in the morning and put a frock on and a pair of trainers and I'm out. Done. Yay, get out for the day. Bottle of water, apple in my bag, I'm done, I'm off. Whereas in the winter, it's layer after layer after layer. Am I going to be warm enough? Is it going to rain? All that. So yeah, I definitely prefer summer. Now, a few years ago, and again, I think I might have mentioned this last year, but just really quickly for any new subscribers, this dislike of winter reached a peak about, I don't know, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I really, really got quite down in the dumps, like full on depressed that winter. I hated it. It was awful. Then the following year, about September, maybe into October, I sort of sat down and had a chat with myself and said, look, Vivi, you cannot have another winter like that. You can't You can't let it get to you so much. Easier said than done, isn't it? You know, when it's a really visceral reaction, it's hard to use your brain to overpower that. But that's what I sort of forced myself to do by saying, okay, you hate winter. We acknowledge that. We, the royal we, me. I acknowledge that. I'm not going to pretend, and I'm not going to go back going, oh, I love winter, because it's just not true. But what I can do is think about the things of winter. Think about those things about winter that I really love. And there are things that I really love about winter. So instead of focusing on how much I hate winter and how much I hate being cold and how much I hate wearing layers and layers and layers of clothes, focus on what I do love. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, and hopefully maybe give some ideas to those of you who also struggle with the winter blues and worse, frankly. So also what I was thinking about was just in terms of some sort of like mind switch. We are going to go into winter. We're not in winter yet, not by any means, of course not. And it's actually a really bright and sunny day today. But as we head into winter, let's think about a couple of maintenance jobs. So first of all, your boiler. Have you had it serviced this year? So I had mine done back in August, or was it the end of July? Sometime in the summer. I had my boiler serviced, make sure everything's running as smoothly as it should, and it is. But also give it a little test run. So obviously it works in terms of my hot water. I always have hot water throughout the year, but I haven't had the heating on, excuse me. So I've got a really dry mouth today. I haven't had the heating on since about, I think it was about the middle of March. And even then, I didn't have the heating on much over the winter. None of us have we, recent years, because of crazy fuel prices. But anyway, it hasn't been on for a long time in terms of for the heating. It's just been the hot water. So yesterday I flicked mine on just for half an hour. Didn't want to go mad. Oh, it felt quite nice actually. Bit naughty but nice. I don't need to put the heating on yet. Put layers on, put jumpers on. Excuse me, that's paper's gone flying. Layers on, jumpers on, and of course coming on to thermals in a second. But yeah, just give the boiler a bit of a run. Make sure it's working, because check it now, or if you haven't had it serviced for a while, get it serviced now before we get into the depths of winter, when people are putting their heating on for the first time and discovering that their boiler is on the fritz. And so all our fabulous plumbers everywhere, boiler repair people, are booked 2-3 weeks ahead, because suddenly everyone wants their boiler looking at. So think about getting your boiler serviced right now before the rush of other people do it later on. So yeah, I'll definitely be. I've had it on. It's all working. I've had it serviced. It's great. So I don't know when it'll get turned on again this year. You know, it just depends what the weather does, doesn't it? But certainly before turning it on, I'll be putting more layers on. The other thing with boilers as well, a good job to do right now is, I'm pointing there, you can't see what I'm pointing at my radiator, is think about bleeding your radiators. It's a really simple job to do. I am absolutely sure there will be a video on YouTube somewhere showing you how to bleed your radiators if you've never done it. I was going to say you should have a radiator key, but you might not if you moved into a property and inherited the heating system. They're so easy. I could pop over to my ironmongers and buy a radiator key. I don't know how much they are. I'm imagining £2 or £3. I don't know, but not a lot of money. A little key, get a rag, you turn it, and when we talk about bleeding radiators, for those of you who've never done it, I'm sure most of you do, and you probably do it annually like me. It's any air that gets trapped into the system in your radiator, if your radiator is like this, this is hot water, hot water, hot water, and then in the top bit there's air. The air gets trapped in the system, so it sits in the top of the radiator. So your radiator isn't as effective. By bleeding the radiator, it lets that air out and lets that water come up, up, up to properly fill the radiator. Please don't do it when the heating has been on. That water will be scalding hot. But yeah, a turn of the key, let that air out, it does a hiss. Have the rag to hand so that as the water comes up, or you can just, there's almost always a little dribble, but yeah, get your boiler serviced, give it a run out for an hour or so, check it's working, bleed your radiators, good. Heating system, check. What else? Oh yeah, unpack. It depends, I suppose, how big your wardrobe is, but here I tend to, all the winter stuff is kind of right at the back, summer stuff has been at the front, so it's time to start thinking about, right, unpacking my winter stuff. If you've got things packed under the bed, get things out, give things a chance to air if they've been stored for all those months. So I'll be looking for my thermals, both tops and bottoms, thick woolly socks, long socks, hats, scarves, gloves, all that clobber. Oh, part of the reason I was thinking of this, I should just say as well, is that it might have actually been that really frosty night. Sorry, not really frosty night, nearly frosty night. I think it got down to about 2 degrees. Anyway, part of the reason I was thinking about it is because, as usual, sleepless night, it's gone midnight, I'm wide awake, there's no way, absolutely no way I'm going to be able to sleep. So I curled up on the sofa, decided to watch some old movie, whatever, I can't remember what it was now. But it was a kind of a bit of a Christmassy, wintry film. It was very cute, it was very mushy, but cute. And I'd grabbed a blanket on the sofa because it was, you know, it was quite chilly. Grabbed the blanket, snuggled up, and I had that first little, frisson of, dare I say it, Christmas. Shh, we can't say that word yet. It's far too soon. But I did have that first little frisson of that gorgeousness of being cozy in the winter, that hygge, as our Danish friends call it, that just feeling well and feeling happy at coziness in one's own home. Hygge, yeah, good word. Anyway, so I think a combination of factors, watching that film and thinking about my squash needing protection from the frost, and suddenly I was like, oh my goodness, winter's around the corner, it's unexpected, so hence today's video. Anyway, so yes, unpacking all that stuff. The other thing is getting your blankets out. If your blankets are stored, especially if you have wool blankets, get them out now and have a check to make sure they haven't been chewed by moths. If they've got some small holes, great, you can set to darning them now before you actually really need them in a month or so. Get your blankets darned today so that they're ready to use in a month or so. But also, if they have had a bit of damage from moths, yeah, think about moth prevention for when we get all the way into next spring and those blankets are going to get washed and put away again for hopefully 7 or 8 months. One thing I've heard about often, I've never had a moth issue, thank goodness, touch wood. But one thing I've heard about often, never tried, is using conkers as moth prevention. So it's nearly conker season now, so gather your conkers now ahead of and thinking about next spring when all your blankets get put away again, and your clothing, your jumpers as well, anything woolen. So yeah, think about maybe when you're having a walk in the park, making the most of a sunny day. That's one of my things on my list of how to cope with winter. When it's a sunny day and you're having a walk in the park, go and gather conkers. I mean, I don't know how many one needs. I'm thinking almost so with my blanket box that a whole layer of them in the bottom of my blanket box. Give it a go. If anyone's had any luck with conkers as a moth prevention, yeah, let us know. So get your blankets out, check they've not been damaged. If they've been damaged, get darning, but also start to think about what you're going to do about your moth prevention stuff. The other thing to dig out is, of course, hot water bottles. Now, I know from a post on Facebook a couple of weeks or so ago, I know that some of you have already got your hot water bottles out. Obviously, I'm down here in the southeast of the country. I'm in London. It's a bit of a microclimate. I think we get cold much later than everybody else. So I can understand, you know, if I went up to my sister's place in Yorkshire, I'd probably want a hot water bottle too. But anyway, I've not been using mine yet, but I've dug them out. This is my lovely new one from Nikki, last Christmas. Thank you, lovely. And it's got such a soft, fleecy cover on. It's really lovely. But the reason I wanted to get these out today, I think I mentioned it last year, but it's worth mentioning it again. Firstly, so this is a bit UK-centric. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world. But when you're buying a hot water bottle, make sure, can you see, let me get the reflection on it. Can you see this bit here? It's the British safety kite mark, and there's a British safety number under there. That means, it's hard to show. Let's angle the light. Ah, there's the number, and will the light pick up the symbol? But that shows it's of a quality, it's of a standard that is safe, rather than something cheap and flimsy that might burst. Because that's the point, isn't it? We want to not have something that's going to burst or a stopper fly out, because we're putting really hot water in these. Not quite boiling, but certainly scalding water. So British Kite safety mark. But also, this was what I didn't know. See, right down at the bottom, you see, it's almost like a sort of a daisy thing here. It's not going to pick up on camera, so I'll just read it instead. In the middle of that, there's a number. And then on the outside, on that, it's actually like a clock. It's got 12, there are 12 little sections. Where are we? There we go. There's 12 little sections. Those little sections around the outside represent the months. The number in the middle is the year. That's the year and month of manufacture. So mine is 035, I think. So May 2003. And apparently, oops, apparently, we're only supposed to use our Hotty Bots for a couple of years before we replace them. So I got that last Christmas, Christmas 23 from Nikki. I've been using it for 20 years. So the advice is you change out your hot water bottle every 2 years. I'm a really bad example of using one for 20 years. Is it more luck, chance, whatever, than design that I haven't had a burst and scalded myself? Yeah. You decide what you want to do in terms of your safety, but that's what that little symbol that looks like a little flower or a clock, that's what that's about. The big number in the middle is year of manufacture, little number on the outside is the month. Anyway, get your Hotty Bots out, retrieve them, find them. I'm also partly saying this thing about, about retrieving and finding things again, because frankly, I've shoved things away, and so many things are in different places to usual, as I've just tried to use up every inch of space, that I did have to think, oh, I know I moved my hot bots from, they used to sit in the top of the blanket box, where have I put them? Anyway, I've got them. So yeah, get all your bits and bobs. Boiler. But then I was thinking about all the stuff that I do love, and watching that film made me have that feeling of, oh, blankets on the sofa, mugs of hot chocolate, books, piles and piles of books or films, whatever it is you like. If it's books, maybe maybe you don't have a library membership at the moment. Maybe that's something to sort out in the next couple of weeks. Get a library membership, and then you can have as many mountains of books to get you through the winter as you want for free. Yay, let's support our libraries if there's one close enough to use. Mine, unfortunately, is a little bit too far for me to walk to. But anyway, yeah, that thought of blankets, quilts, hot chocolate, books, telly, films, oh, that's the best bit of winter. I barely read in the summer at all. Historically, it's partly because the garden keeps me so busy, but this year, you know, other things have kept me busy. So I'm really looking forward to those dark nights, because for me it's an excuse. It's like, well, there's no daylight, what else can I do other than read? Yay! I've started one I'm looking forward to telling you about. But the thing with telly as well, there's something really cosy about the telly for winter, isn't there? I know, because so there's two programmes that a lot of my friends watch, talk about, etc., that I don't watch, but I know how much joy they get from them. Of course, it's Strictly Season, Strictly Come Dancing. Hands up if you're a fan. Oh, look! Hands. I know so many people absolutely love their Strictly time at weekends. It's sort of, it's almost like a countdown to, oh, I nearly said the word again. We're not allowed to say that word in September. But yeah, it feels like it's sort of a countdown to family cosy time, doesn't it, having Strictly on. And of course, I think it's about to be on, is the Bake Off. I know tons of you are Bake Off fans as well. I'd never watched it until I was at my sister's one year. I think it was the late autumn. I was probably up there for my nephew's birthday. And they were all addicts. So it's like, yeah, we're going to watch it. It's on. So I remember sitting in the living room thinking, we're going to watch a baking show for an hour. Ugh, yawn fest. How wrong I was. I seem to remember saying at the end of the show to my sister, who would have thought there could be so much jeopardy with baking? It was fantastic. I loved it. It's like, but that bit at the end when they've got the showstopper cake or creation, and they have to carry their creation to the front table to be judged. And you sort of watch it like, I can't bear it. They're going to drop it. It's going to slide. It's going to, oh. So yeah, that's another reason to love winter, isn't it? Is we get Strictly, we get Bake Off, if you're fans of those. My thing that I'm a fan of that's about to come back, and I can't wait because I love it. All Creatures Great and Small. Big fan. I know there are some people who are stuck in the 80s version that, you know, as far as they're concerned, Robert Hardy, Peter Davison, Christopher Timothy and Carol Drinkwater, that's the only All Creatures that they will ever watch or be interested in. But I love this new version. I am old enough to have seen the first version. I was a teenager, I think, when it was on, and really enjoyed it. It's proper sort of early, was it Saturday or Sunday evening? But it's that kind of just after tea time viewing, isn't it? Sort of 6, 7 o'clock. So I did enjoy it. But this version that's been, I think this is the 5th season. I think it started in 2020. Anyway, I love it. I think the casting is brilliant. The cast makes it. It's such a fantastic cast. I think the Sam West and Callum Woodhouse as the Farnham brothers, just brilliant. And I love Sam West. I just want to hug him. Oh, lovely. And what's his name? Nicholas Ralph, who plays Harriet. Lovely. My favourite, though, in this new version, she has more of a prominent part. And I can't remember the character's name. It's the housekeeper, played by Anna Madeley. Is it Anna Madeley? Anyway, played beautifully. It's very underplayed. So much of it is in her face rather than in dialogue. Just that sort of like these boys sort of thing. But yeah, for me, that's my winter treat is, a bit of All Creatures. And I think they've done it every year. There's a Christmas special. And that's the other thing to love about winter is the Christmas specials. So we get to see our favourite shows, whatever it is. And then we get an extra little dollop for Christmas. So I know, for instance, I know Strictly does a Christmas special. Does Bake Off? Do they have Christmas in the tent? I don't know. If you're a fan, you will know. So yes, it's all about switching that mindset, isn't it, for me, of instead of saying over and over again, I hate winter. I mean, I'll still say it over and over again up here. Of saying, what do I love about winter? And let me focus on that. And let me say to myself, yes, factor in that treat time of 2 hours on the sofa under a blanket with a book. Oh, yes, I'm going to allow myself some hot chocolate this winter. I might even go and buy some soon. It's too soon. No, it won't be a treat if I get it too soon. But also, if you really struggle, try to factor in little events and little special things for yourself. I don't know. For me, it would be something like, a walk along the Thames in the evening on the embankment, all the lights sparkling. It might be something for you like going into your nearest big town to look at Christmas lights. Oh, I can't help myself. It's in my head now, sorry. Anyway, go and look at lights. Really simple little things. Perhaps a day to say, this Saturday I'm going to go to a museum or a gallery. I'm going to ditch everything. I'm just going to go and give myself the treat of a gallery visit. If it is, and this is what I was meaning about with the conkers, going conker gathering, if it is a bright day, even if it's quite chilly, just get bundled up, get outside whenever you can. I find that helps me. Over the years with the garden, I would throughout the winter, I'd still go to the garden at least once a week, if for no other reason than to harvest brassicas. Oh, I'm going to miss my Cavallo Nero this year, aren't I? I'm sure someone will have a bit spare that I can buy, trade, whatever. Anyway, try to still make yourself get out, get some lungs full of air, and that brightness, even though in terms of vitamin D, forget it. In the Northern Hemisphere, this far north, from about October till March, you are not going to get enough vitamin D from the sun. No matter how sunny it is, no matter how much time you spend outdoors, you're just not going to get enough. So that's another thing to consider, actually, is maybe to think about, actually probably everybody in the UK should take a vitamin D supplement through those October to March months. But yeah, try and get outside. I've scribbled down a load of ideas, actually, for myself of the things that I would like to do, that I would look forward to. And if I plan something for a Saturday or Sunday, it's a lovely thing to look forward to all through the week. If I am flagging, if I'm struggling with that winter blues thing, to think, oh, but I've got this happening on Saturday or such and such. Just really simple things like giving yourself permission to have a whole day in the kitchen, for example, talking of Great British Bake Off. I don't know what night of the week it's shown on. I think it's a weeknight, but maybe you say to yourself, during winter, on Saturdays or Sundays, obviously family commitments may make you pick a different day, but I'm going to spend one of those days or 3 or 4 hours of that day baking, having fun, experimenting, trying new cakes, trying a bit of cake decorating if you've never got into it. Let the show you watch that you really enjoy, let that inspire you to have some fun of your own come the weekend, and then you won't even notice if it's chucking with rain outside and grey and miserable, because you'll be having too much fun in the kitchen baking. Or it could be that you're more of a savoury cook. Try new recipes over the winter. I'm always sort of one for saying, yeah, try new recipes, especially frugal recipes if money's a bit tight. Try some new recipes, and you know, after you've done them 2 or 3 times, you don't have to think about them anymore. You can whack them out pretty quickly, and that can become part of your repertoire. So whilst you're giving yourself some fun stuff to do during the winter, you're also putting new stuff into your repertoire that's going to save you money on your shopping bills later on. Yay! New recipes. Obviously, meeting up with friends. What a lovely thing to do in the winter. Come together. Drink lovely hot drinks, and perhaps if one of you is a baker, you know, you could start a little baking circle with each other, where it doesn't have to be every week, but if you're a really close group of friends, perhaps it would be a once a week thing. But in you know, choose somebody choose a different house. Somebody hosts each week so that the cost is spread amongst you. But a little cosy gathering in one of your homes with hot chocolate and cake. How lovely. And chat. You know what you're like when you get with your friends, eh? Or, you know, if finances allow, in a pub. A couple of my pubs around here have gorgeous fires, lovely big open fires. And is anything more uplifting on a cold, dreich, miserable, dark day than sitting next to an open fire? Oh, lovely. But that one is a bit more of a financial impact, obviously, because pubs are expensive. Yeah, going and looking at lights. And as we get into that season that I'm not going to mention, but there are usually quite a few free events, such as, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to say it now. You can plan. Okay, we're saying it now for planning for later. We're not trying to bring it forward, you know, the Christmas thing. But, you know, carol concerts, carols in the park. Maybe a local church is doing a Christingle service. That's always lovely. Maybe you're going to have a tree lighting in your area. So obviously December, I think, is a bit easier to get through if you get winter blues, because there's so much going on to do with that moment of the year. But yeah, January and February, that's when it all tends to feel a little bit harder, isn't it? When it's a bit, you know, all that festivity and the fun is over. And actually, I know that there'll be some of you who really don't like that festive stuff. But just think about things that you can do for yourself to stop yourself, you know, falling into that spiral downward thing, that horrible rabbit hole of depression because of the darkness and the coldness. Plan some trips, plan some treats, and they don't have to cost a fortune either. I do these things for myself, and you know I don't spend a fortune on anything. Can't. But yeah, for me, I'm particularly looking forward to reading and piles of blankets and All Creatures Great and Small. I will see how things go over the course of the winter, but I might treat myself to a couple of sessions up in London. Not to do anything expensive, so I'll have my tube fare to pay to get into London, but it might just be, like I said, just walking along the embankment, enjoying the lights twinkling, reflecting off the Thames. Love that. Maybe going down towards Borough Market and treating myself to a mulled apple juice or a mulled cider even. Yeah, little things spread out throughout the entire winter to keep me going, to give myself things to look forward to. Yay! But in the meantime, I'm feeling really chilly. It's because I've been sat still. I think I need to go and fill this up with some hot water. So yes, there we go. But more than anything today, yeah, embrace the stuff that's, if you struggle with winter like me, embrace the stuff that you love. And also someone was it's actually my estate agent was telling me about a book he read. I think he's going to try and find me a copy, called Wintering. And it's all about everything I've just said about that having that mind that's sort of change of mind in terms of the focus. Take the focus off hating the season and try to focus on the things about the season that you love. So I'm going to be looking out for that book, Wintering. Don't know the author. If I manage to get hold of a copy, I will let you know. But yeah, just try. Oh, nearly knocked my bottle over. I was about to say try not to dread it. If you're dreading it, you're dreading it, you know. But do try to focus on some of the things that you love about it. And in the meantime, get your boilers serviced, make sure they're working. Check your hot water bottle numbers. Maybe it's time to replace your hot water bottle. Get down your blankets. Let's get ready for winter. I want a hot chocolate now. I shouldn't have mentioned it. I think I might go and get some. We'll see. Anyway. All right, lovelies. I feel at the moment, yeah. Winter, bring it on. I'm ready for you. Let's see if I'm still smiling in January. I shall certainly try to be. So, on a smiley note, I'll see you all again really soon, I hope. I was trying to think what for, I'm not sure, but I will see you all again. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Until then, look after yourselves, stay cozy, get that hygge vibe going. Until the next one, cheerio.